Hello, welcome to our home. How are you? Welcome to my show. Welcome to Dave TV for the 17th of September 2013. How y'all doing, everybody? There we go. Paul Farhi. News outlets work fast and miss facts. Interesting. Yesterday's big breaking news about the Navy Yard shootings and all that, and of course all the Washington TV stations, they went and covered it, and the radio stations too, the major news stations, and I thought everybody did a pretty good job. I'm not going to sit and nitpick things. Maybe I'll nitpick WMAL a little bit for putting a little too much politics into it like they always do, but what the heck. So anyhow, Paul Farhi here, and basically what is the point of his piece here is that if you're gonna, in this day and age where we have Twitter and instant news feeds and live cable news, and you're covering a live event that hasn't really gelled and even the police don't know what's going on, you're going to get misinformation, and that's part of it. Now you can just turn off your TV set and say, no, turn off the radio, turn off the computer, turn off your tablet, throw it in the bathtub, whatever, and just say, I'm going to wait until this evening or something, and then I'll get the news, with facts, But if you're going to sit there and want that live, kinetic live feed, and there's an attraction to that. It's like it's fascinating to watch the story develop. You're going to get misinformation, and duh. That's what we hear here. There was a lot that was reported yesterday that was just turned out to be just plain wrong, including a shooting at another facility nearby, and the fact that there were more than one gunman, and blah 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 blah, and how many people got shot, and of course that's to be expected, and so basically in this day and age, if you're watching live coverage, breaking coverage of any kind of breaking news event, remember that a lot of what you're going to hear from those reporters is going to be wrong, okay? Buyer beware. But anyhow, the interesting thing about Paul Farhi's piece here is that there's only one major Washington news executive quoted in it, and that's WTOP's Jim Farley. Apparently, WTOP was among the first news outlets to report a shooting at nearby Bolling Air Force Base, which didn't happen. And the station quickly corrected itself, and And Farley says, quote, better to acknowledge your mistakes and move on than pretend they didn't happen. Good quote, and Farley's a good guy. And, Paul Farhi, Washington Post, very frequently uses Paul or Jim Farley as a source in his stories. They two are kind of tied at the hip, far hip. But interesting. Either Farhi called around to other news directors and news managers in town, and they didn't talk to him, or he didn't. But anyhow, why just the one? I don't know. C+ for Farhi. He's a C+ journalist. But some interesting things about yesterday. Again, WTOP's website went down for a while. Now, granted, there was a lot of drudgy type links to that, and I noticed the Washington Post website was hard to reach at times. That's the thing some of these news organizations might want to watch. When you do have breaking news like that happening, your website goes down. You can't handle this massive amount of traffic. And that's what happened to WTOP yesterday. In fact, when you went to their website, they were just, if you could get through, you were just going to their live blog page, and you couldn't navigate around the site at all. So that's not a good thing. Locally on the radio side of things, I got a number of complaints here on DCRTV about WNEW, not in their coverage. Everyone thought their coverage was really good. It's the signal that a lot of people over here on the Virginia side can't get 99.1 real well. It doesn't come here. The signals fades in and out. It's hard to get on cheap little clock radios. That CBS really, really needs to decide, are we in it? Is this all news or a major thing for us? And if it's going to be a long-term prospect, they need a better signal. Having a signal from Anne Arundel County trying to reach inside the Beltway in Northern Virginia, the biggest population county in the Washington area is Fairfax County, Virginia. If you can't blanket that county with your damn good signal, you're not going to win in the PPM ratings, as WNEW is realizing. They need to do something. Now, either, get an AMer like maybe 980 by Dan Snyder out, or, they need to get maybe his 94.3 in Warrenton and simulcast on that, but they need to do something. Or they need to move NEW to a better inside the Beltway signal somehow. But that's the problem. I just keep hearing it over and over again. Another funny thing, speaking of WNEW, somebody said that Evan Haining last night at 7:27 p.m. on WNEW accidentally said, "Go to DCRTV.com for more information on today's shootings." What he obviously meant to say was CBSDC.com, which is WNEW's website. But, CBSDC.com, DCRTV.com, they kind of sound alike. But I did notice a little spike in our traffic yesterday. I don't know if it happened right at 7:27, but I don't know. But again, you listened to the coverage yesterday, and I thought it was all... I thought both, stations sounded, as good as what the information they were working with. I thought, they did the best job they could in most respects. All four major TVers in the Washington market covered it. Got some complaints from Baltimore because the network stations up there didn't break in and do coverage. A lot of folks in the Baltimore, there's a lot of people in the Baltimore market and Howard and Anne Arundel counties that work in D.C., and probably a lot of them work at the Navy Yard. So it might not have been, it might have behooved somebody like Sinclair's Fox 45 maybe to plug into Fox News there or something and cover that. I don't know, but interesting day yesterday. Bad news for WAMU rather. That was the first day in their new digs there. They moved into a brand new facility at Connecticut Avenue, 4401 Connecticut Avenue. It just happened to be on the same day as the big shootings. And apparently lots of errors. I tuned into WAMU a couple of times during the day, and I just heard the regular programming. They weren't even doing any Navy Yard coverage, so they may have done some coverage there, but when I tuned in, I didn't hear it. So, tough day, coincidentally for them to be doing that. So, interesting stuff there. And then it happens to happen on the big news. The other big news yesterday in the local Washington radio market was Jack Diamond. Jack Diamond, remember we reported, we broke the news actually, that he got bounced from Cumulus owned WRQX, then Mix 107.3 back in April. And they replaced him with with Bert Weiss from Atlanta, and the ratings have tanked since. But anyhow, Jack's been off and on his Twitter and Facebook-y things and saying, "Hey, I'm coming back. And, there's not a lot of room for Jack here in the Washington market. I said that, Wash would be the only place for him to go, kind of, adult contemporary format. And Wash already has a morning show with Lou Katz that gets better ratings than Jack ever did. So why would they want to replace him? And Jack's high maintenance, I don't know if it's high maintenance, but he's certainly high salary, big ego. So anyhow, we just learned yesterday that Jack will go down to Miami. I presume he's going to Miami, not doing it from his home studio, but up here. But going to Miami, Florida, to work for a station called WLYF, Adult Contemporary Light FM in Miami, where he will do the morning show with somebody named Julie Guy. Okay, so he's going to do that. The interesting thing is that Jack has a lot of friends at this station. Rob Sidney, who's the program director at Light WLYF, used to work in the Washington area. I believe he worked at Winks and the old WSID in Baltimore. So he's got some links to the Washington market. So he probably ran into Jack as a young man there working in Jack Diamond back when he was Bruce Diamond and whatever. He worked at a whole bunch of little radio stations in the Washington area, Wheel, and I don't know if he worked at Weem, but he was all over the place like a lot of these old radio guys before he landed 24 years ago at WRQX. And also some other folks there, Maureen, what's her name? Maureen LeSourd. She's the general manager of WLAF. Well, she was the general manager of WRQX back when Jack started working there 24 years ago. And there's also some other folks there at this station down in Miami that know Jack from way back when. So interesting, the personal connection there seems to have done well for Jack. So what's Jack going to do in Florida? The thing about Jack Diamond is, well, he's well known in the radio business. I mean, if, people, you can't work and do a morning show in the radio business for 24 years without being well known in the biz. Other than being in the, among listeners, other than the Washington market, he's an unknown quantity. So he's going to go down to Miami, and the folks are going to turn on WLYF there, and they're not going to know who Jack Diamond is. They're not going to know his history or anything like that. He's just going to be a brand new guy doing some show down there. I don't know. It'd be interesting to see how that goes. I don't know. The other interesting news is Chip Franklin. Remember Chip? Chip grew up in the Washington area. He worked at WMAL for a while. Then he worked at BAL in Baltimore, BAL Radio. WBAL had him on doing the late morning show back when, what did they have? Yeah, he did late mornings at the station. And I think that wasn't that the day, then they had Rush Limbaugh on at 12. And yeah, so, and then Ron Smith on in the evening drive kind of slot. I think that's back when they had all that. Anyhow, that's when, so Chip did he was a very popular host there on WBAL. Not a crazy righty like Chris Plant, more like a moderate righty like Ron Smith was. But anyhow, he worked there till I guess 07 or something, and then moved over to San Diego to do the morning show on KOGO. KOGO apparently is Clear Channel station. They've just decided to get rid of the morning show and redo everything. So it looks like Chip is out of a job. So I would say, hey, Chip, come back to your home stomping ground. WBAL needs you. WBAL's ratings lately have been not so hot. I don't know. They need some big changes at BAL, and I think Chip could be instrumental in doing that. I really think that the folks over there at BAL should be very, very interested in getting Chip back. Possibly redo that morning show. Make it the Chip Franklin morning show. And, keep the heavy news content. But, make him, they need that, a strong morning show to get that station going. And maybe they could pair Chip Franklin and Brian Neiman together or do something like that, but they need to do something. And I think there's an opportunity there with Chip Franklin now suddenly being available. So we'll see how that one goes. All right, folks, thanks for watching Dave TV for this 17th of September 2013. Don't forget to help support the site. 16th anniversary this month. Got some special deals on DCRTV Plus. 2 years for the price of one. Send us a few bucks. I do this all the time. You look at the ads. We do have some ads on the website, but it pays. Your donations are a good third of our operating budget every year. A good third, a solid third. So really, it does matter whether you send us $5 or whatever, $10, $5,000, whatever you want to send us. Just click on the support link there at the top of DCRTV. Thanks for watching Dave TV. Book 'em, Dano.